welcome back to Crypto with Sid. Here we discuss about latest crypto news and technical analysis of different coins on a daily basis that will be very beneficial for you and helps you to make better plans for your future trades. Today's first news is Bitcoin reached potential bottom, says legendary trader Peter Brandt. According to an analysis shared by a veteran trader, Peter Brandt, Bitcoin has finally reached the pattern's target. It has been forming since the middle of July. The price performance does not mean that the market should become extremely bullish, and it also does not mean that BTC won't drop even lower, says the trader. Rising wedge pattern. Back in July, after a massive 25% plunge, Bitcoin entered a rising wedge, which often acts as a cool-down pattern during amplitude trends, with assets entering consolidation channels, or ascending and descending wedges. Traders and investors take their time to accumulate or redistribute their funds prior to a volatile move. As the consolidation period comes to conclusion, the market is seeing a rapid spike in the trading volume and volatility, which causes a swing up or a plunge down. In our case, the market decided to push BTC lower, causing it to drop to the July level. According to Brandt, the target of the pattern has been reached, which means Bitcoin is now moving without looking back at the formation that was present on the market for the last few weeks. Following the drop below the lower border of the wedge, Bitcoin has also plunged below the 50-day moving average, which means that the asset has returned to the deep downtrend and needs great support of investors to get back up. Let's move on to today's second news. Kim.com says big crash needed for crypto to go mainstream. Internet entrepreneur Kim.com said that a big crash would help mainstream cryptocurrencies as an everyday medium of exchange instead of fueling speculative behavior. He spoke as cryptocurrency markets fell sharply on Friday after a sudden sell-off. Bitcoin dropped about 4% to $21,130, its lowest level in over 3 weeks. Ethereum, the world's second largest digital currency, tanked 9% to $1,640. Our analysis says it may test $1,350 because for now there is low volume in Ethereum. Let's move on to today's third news. Ripple lawsuit. John Deaton predicts shocking thing that might happen after summary judgment briefings. John Deaton, crypto law founder, is making a bold prediction as to what might happen after the summary judgment briefings are made public. He stated, "When the summary judgment motions are public, we will see the evidence we are currently unaware of, including testimony from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, co-founder Chris Larsen, Ripple CTO David Schwartz, and former Ripple employees. It includes testimony from Hinman and other SEC officials, Amy Starr, Valerie S." He also added, "I predict we will also see why it was so important that XRP holders be heard." According to the recently updated schedule shared by James K. Filan, the remaining months in 2022 may be key times in the lawsuit based on the upcoming decisions and motions to be filed. Motions for summary judgment are expected to come in by September 13th. Oppositions are expected by October 18th. While replies to any opposition must be made by November 15th. Ahead of Judge Torres' final decision, Filan predicts that Judge Torres' decision on expert motions and summary judgment might come on or before March 31st, 2023. Let's move on to today's fourth news. Liquidation fears mount as bank NFTs floor price drops. Fears of liquidation have gripped the non-fungible tokens market after it emerged that several Bored Apes and Moon Tapes holders borrowed against their NFTs on BendDAO. The news broke out on Twitter after a user shared a screenshot of a Bored Ape NFT made available for auction, with the floor price of Bored Ape now at 72 ETH, bake number 533, which was used as collateral against a 66.95 ETH loan, has now been listed for auction. Although no one has made a bid for the NFT yet, it appears that several other Bored Apes holders borrowed around 60 ETH on the protocol too. BendDAO is one of the popular peer-to-peer NFT protocols that allow people to borrow ETH against the floor price of their NFTs. Usually, NFT holders can borrow up to 40% of the floor price. Overall, NFTs used as collateral on BendDAO are worth over $59 million, a total of 272 bakes, which is 2.8% of the collection are collateral on the platform, while 1.6% Mutant Apes collection are also there. With several of these NFTs having low health factors, the risk of liquidation is significant. 45 of the bakes are in the danger zone, which is a health factor below 1.2 that suggests they are close to being auctioned off. Liquidation might further tank bake floor price. The fear is that, if these bakes are auctioned off, it might further drive the floor price lower, hence triggering a massive liquidation in the NFT market. However, the concerns still remain, with many comparing the potential of an NFT liquidation, similar to Celsius or Voyager's crash. So far, there have been a few Mutant Apes auctions already, but more could follow if the debtors don't repay their loan and get liquidated. BendDAO co-founder also close to liquidation. Ironically, one of the Bored Apes holders, dangerously close to getting auctioned, is the co-founder of BendDAO itself. However, the concerns remain, with many comparing the potential of an NFT liquidation, similar to Celsius or Voyager's crash. If you guys find this video informative and useful for you, subscribe to Crypto with Sid's YouTube channel for more crypto news and updates. Don't forget to check out my NFT collections, link in the description. And take care, until next time.